Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are on page 235 of your student journal, and we are going to be doing lessons 1, 2, and 3 in this video. So our objective or our goal today is, today I will graph ordered pairs on a coordinate plane. Sometimes they call it a coordinate grid, so I'm going to put grid in parentheses. So today I will graph ordered pairs on a coordinate plane or a coordinate grid. Okay, so let's kind of look at our vocabulary since we're starting a brand new unit. And our first word is, what is a coordinate plane? It's a plane formed by a horizontal line, which is my x-axis. So this is my horizontal line, which is my x. It's labeled right there. And a vertical number line, which is my y-axis, and it's labeled y right there, that intersects at the 0 point. So this very center is called 0, 0, which is also called our origin, like where everything originates from, the very center, which is 0, 0. Okay, then we have, it's broken into 4 quadrants. So this is our first quadrant right here. You'll see the Roman numeral 2. And our quadrants go counterclockwise. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. When you were in 5th grade, you probably only focused on the first quadrant, which is all positive numbers. But quadrants 2, 3, and 4 will have some negatives because the number lines will be have some negatives in it. So again, the quadrants start with the positive, and then it goes counterclockwise, and it's used in Roman numerals. Okay, then we have an ordered pair, which is 2 numbers used to show a point's position on a coordinate plane. So the first number is the x coordinate, that's why they put an x on top of the 4, and the second number is the y coordinate. I like to always do this with my coordinates. I always write an x, y on top of my ordered pairs. Okay, then we have the intersection of the x and y number lines, which is 0, 0. And then they remind us what the x-axis is. It's our horizontal, and what our y-axis is, it is our vertical line. Okay, so today we're going to be doing quite a few together, and then you're also going to be watching me do quite a few. I'm not going to worry about my steps right now. I'm just going to get started. Okay, so my first one looks like this. And they tell me they want me to plot and label each point on the coordinate plane or grid and identify the quadrants. Okay, so G is at 7, 3. And the reason I'm going to show you this one, even though they've already been plotted on here, is I want to show you. So if I started here, this is my x and this is my y. So my x was 7. So look where my x is, right here, 7. And my y, which is this line, is -3. So look how they got the G. They found where they met in the center, and that was where G is. So it's at 7 was the x, and y was the -3. Now I drew the line. Sometimes I like to just use my finger so it doesn't get messy. And then the quadrant is 4. This is 4 when it's looks like that. Okay, so how did they get the L? Well, the LX is -2, so I go on the X line and find -2. And then my Y is -9. So I go on my Y line and find -9. And where do they meet? They meet right there. So that's where they put the L at, right there. And that one was in quadrant 3, and it tells me right there. Okay. Number 3 says the J. So my J was at -6 was my X. So I go on my X line and I find -6. And then I go on my Y line and I find 5. So on my Y line I found 5, and look where they put the J. Right where those two touch, which is in quadrant 2. And then quadrant 1, which I said is what you've done in 5th grade, The x was 5, so I find my x, which is 5, and my y is 7, so I go on my y line and find 7, and where do they meet? They meet right where they put the k, which is on 1. So this is kind of gets sloppy. Sometimes I like to just do my fingers, and you'll see, I'll show you that when we do it together. Okay, so we are on page 236 together. Here is ours. I'm going to zoom out. So we're on page 236. And my first one says, u is at -8, 1. So let's put an x and a y on there. Okay, so on the x line, let's find -8. And on the y line, let's find 1. Now, where do those two meet? They meet, if I use my fingers, right here, which is u. That's where our u should be. And our u is in quadrant 2. Okay, let's look at number 2. My x is 5 and my y is 2. Okay, so on my x line, let's find a 5. And it might help if I even did this with different colors. Maybe I'll do it with a red. My y line is 2. And where do those two meet? Right there. That's where they would meet, right there, which is Q. That's where they want Q. And my answer for Q, the quadrant, is quadrant 1. Okay, my next one says -4, -4. So on my x line, they want me to find -4, which is right here. And on my y line, they also want me to find -4, which is right here. So those meet right there, which that would be where would they want us to write W, and W is in quadrant 3. Okay, and our final one, our x line is 3. So they want us to find 3 on our x line, which is right here. And my y, they want me to find -2. And those two would meet right here. And that would be where Z is. So Z is in quadrant 4. Okay, so that is how I would plot these points. Okay, I'm going to do a different one and show you what if they've already plotted the points for me. So here is a different one that I want to show you. And here they've already plotted D and F for me. They want me to tell you what it is. Okay, so I know that I need to go to my 2 axes. Okay, and when I find what D is, I know it's going to be the x first and then the y. So for D, my x on my x-axis is 3. And on my y-axis, my up, down, vertical, it's 4. So D is at, the ordered pair is 3, 4, and it was in quadrant 1. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for F. So F, I'm going to draw the line to go to my axes. And I remember that x goes first and then y. So my x line for F is -4. And my y line for F is also -4. And it's in quadrant 3. So I think the best way if you're having any struggle is to make sure you're drawing lines. Okay, so let's do a couple of these ones together. And we are on page 248. And here's the page we're doing together, 248. So our first one says point P. Okay, so remember an ordered pair looks like that, and it has an X and a Y. Okay, so P, let's draw lines to our axes. Okay, and on our X line, we went to -3. So our X is -3, and on our Y line, it's 5. And our quadrant is quadrant 2. Okay, let's look at B now. So let's draw lines to our axes. Okay, and when I write it, remember my X comes before my Y. So for B, my X line it went to -6. And my y line for B, it went to -4. So it's -6, -4, and it's in quadrant 3. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you have 3 lessons you're going to be working on. Have a great day.